Right.
Hey YouTube, it's Kieran Fabz here. I don't really do deck profiles, but I managed to top the YCS this weekend in London. I managed to get top 64. I finished 31st after Swiss and went 10-2 with Spright. I don't think Spright's the best deck, but I think it's just the best deck that I'm comfortable with, and I've been playing it for the last few formats, and I don't really fancy playing cash tier, so just played something I was comfortable with. So we'll get into the profile and I'll explain some of the matchups at the end and the breakdown of the tournament. And yeah, elaborate on a few more things after. So for the profile, I played 3 Spright Blue, really standard, 3 Jet as well, which is standard, and 1 red, 1 carrot. I opted not to play multiples of these cards because they don't plus you in any way. You just want to search them off blue, starter and gigantic, which I think's enough, and you just want them for when you're going first really. So yeah, just played the 8 sprites. Didn't want to play any more, didn't want to play any less, but I think that was correct. For the main normal summon, I played the nimble package, so 3 nimble beaver and 2 angler. Beaver's especially good, as people know, because obviously it's full combo, but it's also the best into Book of Moon, as that's really popular this format. Angler sucks to draw, but I do play the nightmares in the extra deck, so having them there helped utilise drawing this a bit more. And again, any level 2 with like jet or blue is still like full combo, so like it's not the worst to draw. So yeah, played those. For my other card, level 2, I played Soul Scissors. I opted to play this in case you draw like clunky hands where you just draw like hand heavy Spright hands, and then this gives you something else you can summon off gigantic. The best part about this card is like sometimes your opponent just forgets it's in the graveyard and they'll try and run over something, and then you can just trigger this and then pop the monster they try to attack with, or like another monster. You can also like do cool plays with Nightmare Cerberus and this to like clear up the board, and also it helps with the Mosquito OTK. So I'm quite glad I played this card, and like it's still just a solid card, so glad I played it. But didn't see it too much over the weekend, but I don't think I would change it at all, and I think it was good when I did utilise it. And you can send it off sprint. And then the reason why the deck's good is the Melffy cards, Melffy Catty and Melffy Pinny. Pinny sucks to draw, but Melffy Catty is not the worst to draw, but you just really want to search these off the Melffy cards, and I feel this engine gave a huge boost to the deck. I don't play the swap package because I don't think that version's that great, and I think that Melffy XYZ gives you such a huge edge in the cash matchup if they don't draw tech cards to break your board. But yeah, the fact this is accessible through Gigantic or Sprint just makes it even more broken, and like, yeah, searchable Herald or like Melffy, Merry Melffy. So yeah, glad I played those. And then for the other monster I played in the deck, I played 2 Fenrir. On Friday night I was talking with Alex and Jack, and originally this was E-Telly and Diva, but the problem with like Diva was like you're just playing too many level 2s, like your hands get clunky. And the problem with Teleport is it doesn't give you enough of a plus. It helps you extend, but like I just don't feel like it did enough to like warrant it being the deck. And I feel like Fenrir is pretty good over the whole coverage of the tournament. And also if you start with this, you can like obviously search itself. That's like, and you don't have to like see it again. That's why I didn't play 3. I just opted for 2 because I never wanted to like really brick on this. And also you can summon this off Mannequin Cat. And then a few things that did happen to me over the tournament is like sometimes I'd start with this and then use its effect game 1 only. And then if they do hand trap it, which someone did, like Impermeable, like they think you're on Cash Tira, so it's a good bait at the same time. So yeah, I'm glad I played this at 2, and also like it's just good into like going first and second, and it's good versus most decks. So yeah, I'm glad I played that. It's just a bit more utility, and it's a good add, and then you can use like the spare one to discard for like a nightmare or something. So it was quite good. Onto the spells, I played 3 Prosp. This doesn't really need explaining. This card's like insane. It's especially good post side because you can search the going first cards I play in my side deck, and it's also good going second. You can search board breakers, and it's just like a solid card overall. It helps you get engine as well. So yeah, if you don't open playable but you open this, you're probably going to hit something that you can play with. So that's pretty good. Glad I played that. And then I played 3 Spright starter. This card's standard. You would never play less than 3 of this. This card's insane. This is another reason why we only played 2 Fenrir, because you don't really want to have the confliction. If you open this going first, you're more likely just want to just start her in the draw phase to play around draw instantly. And so yeah, but this card's insane. It's full combo on its own, and it's just a solid card. The shame about the XYZ restriction, but like it has to be balanced, and it's still not balanced. But yeah, card's broken. I wouldn't play any less than 3 of that. And then for the Spright utility cards, I played Smashers, Gamma Burst, and Double Cross. Double Cross is really standard. Do keep this in going second a lot over Smashers. But yeah, this one's really good. But a lot of people cut Gamma Burst. Some people play it. I think it's insane. You have to play it, I think, because the deck doesn't grind as much anymore. And I just think that this just helps end the game really, really fast. Because like, if they can't crack your board, they've probably not got a lot of monsters. So then on the crackback, you can go turn 3, Omnibaru, banish Smink, and then Jet can then just search this and then just Gamma Burst for game, and that wins. So like, yeah, probably won like 70% of games with this alone. And shout outs to Grave Effect, like, you know what I mean, they didn't come up over the weekend, but it does have a Grave Effect if people didn't know. Shout outs to Alex and Jack for that one. But the worst one was probably Smashers for sure, but the only reason I played this was for the Runic decks, because I respect them, and Towers monsters like Avramax, Dragoon, and Floodgates. I think it's important to have main deck out so you don't just auto lose. So I'm glad that I played it, but like I did side it out most games, to be honest, because it was pretty poor. So yeah, I don't know if I'd continue to play it in the main deck, but I'd probably side it perhaps. But it was still decent. Onto the tech cards, like hand trap slots, I played 3 Ash. You'll see like a common trend in my deck that I try to just go with generic hand traps, because you're not really like, because it's such a diverse format, I just want all my cards to be as live as possible. And obviously Ash is like the most generic hand trap, and Shred's branded literally an FTK versus them, and this deck has a hard matchup versus that. So Ash is really good, and Ash in starter is also great. It does suck versus Cash, but if I play against Cash and they start with a field spell, I'll just Ash that, to be honest. I know some people are on Gamma, but if they have it, they have it. But I think because it's better just to Ash the field spell. If they don't have the body, then like it stops them, or you can Ash Prosperity or Theosis. But like, I think this card's not the greatest versus Cash, so I'd probably like take 1 or 2 copies out going second, but the card's still very solid, so I'm glad I played it. And it's good versus like every other deck this format pretty much. And then for the main hand trap I played was Gamma, this and Driver. This was like MVP of the weekend. I think I only won like 4 die rolls in Swiss. I lost 8 die rolls, and like if I didn't have this in my deck, well, having this in my deck meant that like I had a chance going second a lot of the time. And it's just very, very high impact, and it's insane versus Kashtira. You've also got a niche interaction with starter in the draw phase where they think that's your only play, so they Ash it, and then you got Gamma, and then this can be Sprind. But like, it's insane going second against Kashtira and against like most decks, and it's just very, very solid hand trap, like Solemn Strike. So like, yeah, I'm glad I played this. I did lose a game though, round 4 against Kashtira, because he used Rise Heart to banish 3 and it hit this, and I had Gamma in hand, but like, it is just unfortunate, but like that only happened once, but like I wouldn't change that. I think Gamma was insane. And then for the other slots I played 3 Impermanents. This was originally Droll. I opted to go with this because I think that Droll's quite awkward in this deck when you've got Herald up sometimes, like if you go first. And I think Droll's just like one of them cards where like it does stop them, but like they can still end on somewhat of a board. So like you don't really stop them. So like I opted to go with something that's really good going first and second. Like if I draw this for a Sith card, it's always live. Again, like a common trend, I just wanted all my cards to be as live as possible. And this is insane versus Kashtira. A Rise Heart going second. So yeah, this card was really, really good. So yeah, I'm glad I played it. And then for the last tech card I played 3 Book of Moon. Shout outs to Alex and Jack. We were discussing on Friday night like what this should be. Originally I wanted a hand trap, but like all hand traps suck this format pretty much, apart from the ones I'm playing and siding, in my opinion. And Book of Moon's just really solid going first and second. It's really good versus Kashtira, and it's also like pretty good versus Spright going first as well. And a few other decks, it is pretty good going first that as well. And I did want to play Talents, but I feel like I didn't want, like if my opponent didn't hand trap me, I'd just have dead Talents in hand. I just wanted something that was always live on my turn and their turn. So I think this was the best option. And yeah, the card was really good apart from where I misplayed in top 64. on doing this on my own gigantic to dodge an imperm, but like I was just tired. So yeah, shout outs to Josh for noticing that one. So yeah, that was definitely a misplay from me. But yeah, the card was solid. Onto the extra deck, I played 2 Sprint. This is pretty standard. The only reason it's 2 is for mainly because Kashtira can banish 1. But yeah, I used the first one mainly, and then sometimes going second you can send scissors with the second one. That come up a few times for me, so that's pretty standard. I then played Nightmare Cerberus and Nightmare Phoenix. These cards are really good. As I was saying earlier, sometimes with the Fenrir in your deck as well, you get a free discard out of these, and also Angler with these is really good, and Phoenix especially is good versus Cash because you're hitting Birth sometimes if you do go to a grind. And then Cerberus is really good with the Soul Scissors play I was telling you about earlier. So these cards are really good. I made them so many times over the weekend, so I'm glad I played both of these, wouldn't cut them. Onto the Exceeds, I played number 2 Shadow Mosquito. I don't think I killed anybody with its effect, although I do that quite a lot in Dueling Book, but nah, not once over the weekend. Every time I played against Cash, which I played a lot of, they banished this. So yeah, that kind of sucks, but it was still good, and it still helps make Zeus, so I wouldn't play anymore, but I think it was fine. Onto the Melffy of the Forest. I feel like this is the reason why the deck's good, because it makes the Cash matchup so much easier if they don't have a tech card to like break your board. Yeah, and I like how this is accessible, like I said earlier, through the Spring line or through Gigantic, and I think that's really solid, and I think this just added another layer to the deck, and it's just really insane. Probably the second best XYZ in the deck. As for the best XYZ in the deck, Gigantic Spright, the reason why the deck's still playable, cards broken, plays through Nibiru. This is always my first action and can access your engine. It's just a very good card, honestly. This card just like it's the whole like the dodging Nib is just like insane with this, like doing this first to play around Nib. It's just broken. It always gets hand trapped, like or bait something. It's very solid. I was playing 3, but I opted to cut it to 2 and play like Mannequin Cat instead, but I think 2 was fine, so yeah. I then played Omnibaru Soul Sweeper. This card's especially good turn 3, so you can banish and go for the Gamma Burst OTK or out problematic monsters, or just go in second and then go for Gamma Burst. So this card was insane. Summoned it literally like, I swear, once every round. And then I played, shoutouts to Alex for this one, Mannequin Cat. I wasn't really too keen on this card because I don't play the targets, but like we opted to go for this one instead of the third Gigantic because we wanted something that could probably tutor out Fenrir or like the Sprites. And also like against Droll and Lockbird a lot of the time, like if that happens to you, you can't go the Melffy line because it just doesn't get you anywhere and you can't search. So like this was like the second best thing to summon. So like yeah, we opted to play this and it was really solid for me. Won me a game where I summoned a Fenrir versus a Trapchick player, so I'm glad I played that. And then I played 1 Downward for obviously Zeus. I don't know why you wouldn't play it. I think that card's insane, so you get more material Zeus. And then I played 2 Zeus. Just 2 to respect the Kashtira matchup, so they can't just banish it and you auto lose sometimes. So just went for 2 and I summoned this a bunch. Not too much over the tournament, but I summoned it enough. And I think it was very necessary. So yeah. And then for the synchros, I played 1 Herald. This is like the best synchro in the extra deck. Like this is the reason why the deck's even good. Because of the Melffys make this, it's really insane. So yeah, this with the double cross play and also the macro effects, like against certain decks, some decks just struggle with that, especially like Dark Worlds. And then for the last synchro, I played Merry Melffys. I didn't summon it all weekend. It could have probably been Cat Shark or it could have been Herald of Pure Light. But I think this card's still decent. It's good against Flu sometimes for getting rid of M-Pen in the end phase. And it's also pretty decent against Despia. But I didn't summon it the whole weekend. But I still think it's fairly solid. It's the only card I didn't summon out the extra deck. But I think it still warrants a slot maybe. Onto the side deck. For the only other hand trap I played was Dimensional Shifter. I opted to go with this because I think it's the highest impact hand trap out of all the other ones I'm playing, and it hits rogue decks such as like Dark Worlds, which I played. It also hits Math. It's also good against Mathmex. It's good against any Runics variant pretty much, especially the Naturia version. I just think it's a solid card and it's a turn skipper, and then I can capitalise on this with Gamma Burst as well. So I think it's very, very strong. It won me a game alone against Dark World, so I'm glad I played it. Definitely high impact. And then I opted to play the rest of my cards with like spell and trap removal. So I ended up going with 3 Cosmic Cyclone. I mainly played this because I was scared of the floodgate decks like Labyrinth and like trap decks that play like Skill Drain or Eldritch. Also, it's good against Runic, hitting the Fountain. It's also just good going first because you can like 1-for-1 trade with stuff like Field Spell Birth. I think it's a very, very generic card. I think it's just a safe one, so I opted to go with this. So yeah, I think that card was good. Didn't play too many trap decks the weekend, so I didn't side it as much, and didn't play too much Runic, but I still think it was solid. Maybe it could have been a like hand trap, but I don't really know what it could have been. Maybe Bell. And then I opted to play more removal. I played more generic removal, Lightning Storm and Feather Duster. These are mainly for like road decks or like just any sort of decks like Sword Soul. They're also really good against cash. I side these in because you need to deal with the Book of Moons and Imperms and like Book of Eclipse that they may sell enemy controller. So you just need something to force all that. Then you can normally push through a Rise Heart and OTK. So like, yeah, I sided these and a lot, and they were really good. Sided Duster a lot. I didn't see it over the weekend once, but I think it's still good, obviously. And then for the last spell, I played Change of Heart. This card was really, really insane for me over the weekend. Just very good going second against literally every deck I sided it. This is what I took Smashers out for and put this in every time. In one matchup against the Dark Hole player, I shifted. He made Baguska, and I took the Baguska with this and then OTK'd him. Against Kashtira, you can take a Rise Heart and make Zeus. That's really good. Against Spright, you can take a monster and then just like make Zeus, or you can just use it for level 2 food. Just to make Spring, like this card's just really, really solid. But like the fact you can attack with the monster as well is like really, really relevant. So I'm glad I played that. Very strong card. Seen it quite a lot of times, probably more than I should have. And then for the going first cards, I played 3 Judgment and a Pointer. I'd normally take out the Gammas and put these in. And also, like, this makes Prosper even better, because if I resolve my combo and then Prosper at the end, I usually hit like one of these, and I hit like, that happened in one game where I hit a Pointer. Against Trap Tricks, he tried to hold Impermanent evenly, but like I got rid of the evenly, and then he couldn't break the board. And then against another deck, I had double Judgment and full board, and he couldn't play through it. So these cards are really, really solid, and Judgment stops Dark Ruler as well, which I thought would be very, very popular. So yeah, I wouldn't change any of that. And then, so yeah. So for the tournament, as I was saying, I only won 4 die rolls out of 12 rounds. I lost 8 rolls, so I went second majority of the time. So I think like my deck was pretty built well to go second as well as first. I played against 1 Runic Stun deck round 1, and then I played against 5 Kashtiras in a row. I then played 1 Dark World player, and I played Trap Tricks, then I played Sword Soul, and that was my day 1, I believe. And then day 2, I played 2 Kashtiras, and then I played 1 Trap Trick, but I think it was round 10 I played the Kashtira, round 11 was the Trap Trick, the second one, and then the 12th round, sorry, was Kashtira before I made top 64. And then in top 64, unfortunately, got knocked out by Spright Melffy due to misplaying with my own Book of Moon, which is unfortunate, but it's just a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah, the tournament ran pretty well. It was a bit slow day 1 for the first few rounds, but then it did get better, to be honest. So yeah, I think it was like 3,500 players in the end, so it was definitely a big tournament. But yeah, it was a good time. Shout outs to Josh Jackson, Liam Millington, Kojin, Ahmad, Alex, Adam, Simeon and Jack, who I stayed with the weekend. It was a really, really good time. It helped me test as well. We just had a good laugh. It's always a good time when I go away with all them. Shout outs to all the Birmingham lot who supported me from Griffins and CAF. Appreciate all of them, and shout outs to my family, especially my mum. She was supporting me all weekend, sending me messages and stuff. And then shout outs to my best friend Aria. She was also sending me messages and supporting me. And yeah, this profile will probably be on Simeon's channel, so yeah, like and subscribe to Fabz. And yeah, subscribe to that, and then big up my sister on the camera as well for filming the profile. Like I said, I don't really do these, but yeah, that's all. Cheers.